Greetings, my lords. Jellord here, coming at you with another video. I just wanted to explore a little topic that's been bugging me in the last day, and that has to do with the Switch 2. I know, crazy. Nobody's talking about it, right? I noticed that a couple of content creators have been putting out some videos basically talking about their struggles trying to get their pre-order in for a Switch 2, and some people online have been commenting about it. And I find this a little bit ironic considering that for like the last month straight, we have gotten non-stopped rage bait from like every dedicated video game content creator online. It's just non-stop rage bait from all these people going on and on about the price of the Switch 2, about the form factor, about them not trying to revolutionize the interface like they usually do, about it being a lazy concept. You name it, people are bitching about it. Every imaginable facet of the console. But the one thing that sticks out on top, the one thing that's on the tippy top of the turd pile of gaslighting and rage bait and bullshit content is basically the $80 for Mario Kart. People are saying this is going to usher in like a dark age of $100 video games and shit, and how awful this price point is. They don't even give a shit about the $450 console. Like, that doesn't bother them. It's the $80 Mario Kart game because that's the only one that's $80 so far. Donkey Kong's supposed to be $70. Basically, all of the enhanced editions are $70, and third-party games are looking to be pretty cheap. At least Bravely Default is like $40, I think. It might be $60 for Street Fighter 6, or maybe $70. I can't remember, but it's definitely not $80. In any case, that seems to be the number one thing that's bugging people, that has been bugging people, that they've been crying about the most. Me personally, I don't care about it. Like, I don't care about the price of the console. I don't give a shit about the price of the games, to be honest. And as long as the game's worth $80, I am fine with that price point. And if it can magically usher in a new age of like $80 games that are worth the price point, I would welcome such a fabled time. I would be pleased with that. I'd be happy to pay $80 for banger after banger going forward. Not that I think that that's going to be the case, but video games, it's an expensive hobby, man. You're basically collecting electronics. Like, that was never going to be cheap. People got to realize that. And I mentioned this before, it's like there were $80, $90 games for the Super Nintendo. There were $80, $90 games for the N64. Like, games have been this expensive in the past. And people, people will say, it's like, even with inflation, it'd be well over $80, $90, you know what I mean? But people argue like, oh, our wages haven't gone up in that time, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I don't know. Like, didn't you become an adult? Didn't you, like, get a better job than working at, like, part-time at some shitty fast food place? I imagine you have to be doing a little better by the time you're in your 30s or 40s, but I digress. My point is, I don't really give that much of a shit about the game pricing or anything like that. The only thing that was disappointing to me for this console was just the lineup of the games. I'm like, 2 games isn't enough for me. And I set a rule, for myself back during the Wii U. When I bought the Wii U originally, I bought it for Xenoblade Chronicles X. And it turned into this situation where Xenoblade Chronicles X was like the only game I had to play on there for pretty much the whole duration of the console. Nothing else came out that I really cared about or that hadn't already come out on a previous console. So there was essentially no exclusives. And as it stands, there's 2 exclusives for the Switch 2. And it's going to be Mario Kart and Donkey Kong. That's not enough for me. And those aren't even, like, console-selling games, in my opinion. At least for me, my tastes, that's not a system seller to me. Donkey Kong doesn't sell me the system. Mario Kart doesn't sell me the system. A new Mario, a new Zelda, a new Metroid, bringing back Star Fox, bringing back F-Zero, a brand new Kirby game, those would have been system sellers for me. And even then, it would have taken at least 3 or 4 of them coming out at the same time for it to be a system seller. Because the rule I set up for myself is there's got to be at least 5 exclusives that I want, exclusive that I want, not just 5 exclusives, period. There's to be 5 exclusive games that I want for the console before I'll buy the console. And I did that with the Switch. I didn't buy the Switch for like the first 3 years that it was out because there wasn't 5 exclusive titles for it that I wanted. And once there was 5 exclusive titles that I wanted, I picked the Switch up. And from then on, I was happy. I was convinced that the console was going to be worth my time. And I broke that rule with the PS5. And the reason I broke the rule was because I got a good opportunity to buy it for the actual retail price during a time when it was still hard to get a hold of, and mostly scalpers were selling the console for like $700. I was able to get it for $530 directly from Sony because it was offered to one of my friends or whatever, and he was kind enough to give me that opportunity since he already had his own PS5 at the time. So I bought it, and I ended up in this situation where I ended up buying a fucking game like Forspoken, that I didn't even want, but that was the only exclusive that like actually utilized the PS5's power. And I wanted to play a game that made me feel like I was playing the next console generation. So I bought it. And at some point later, I'll probably make a video about Forspoken, just because I'm of the unpopular opinion that I didn't hate that game as much as everybody else did. And that kind of feeds a little bit into what I'm trying to talk about today. And it's the whole fact that all of these content creators online for the last month have been rage baiting us and gaslighting us about the Switch 2, only to turn around and immediately buy the console. Like, that seems so disingenuous to me. It's like I'm not going to name specific content creators. I'm going to be general about this because like I'm not trying to make this like a beef channel, you know. I'm not trying to like ride somebody's coattails or their success by talking shit about them or whatever. So I'm keeping vague, but I'm sure if any of you guys that are subscribed to me like watch other YouTube creators in the video game realm, you probably have some guesses of who I might be talking about. But it's like, watching these guys come up with these videos talking about how hard it is to pre-order their Switch 2 and this and that, after a whole month of them rage baiting about how much it fucking sucks and how much Nintendo sucks, dude. Like, that to me seems like a total lack of values, totally disingenuous, gaslighting bullshit. And then they tried to hide behind this thin veil of like, ooh, it's my job to buy this. It's my job. As if though their channel isn't going to become a fucking, like, entire advertisement for the Switch 2 for, like, the next half a year after that console comes out. Like, all they're going to do is talk about that console while they're playing it. That's going to be it. That's all they're going to do, man. And for them to sit around and literally in some cases tell us that we need to boycott Nintendo and vote with our wallets, you know, and withhold our cash to teach them a lesson, and we have to fight against this looming $100 game that's coming around the corner with GTA 6. Like, all of that just rings so hollow when they turn around and just buy the console day one and make a fucking video about how hard it is for them to get it. It's like, are you kidding me, dude? And so many of them have talked shit only to turn around and be like, well, Donkey Kong looks pretty cool and Mario Kart's looking pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, they look like a lot of fun. I'm getting the Switch 2, even though it fucking sucks and you shouldn't buy it. Like, it's like, it boggles my mind. And I've unsubscribed from a ton of content creators because of this shit. And like, it just brings me to another point, like, in the same vein, where I'm just starting to not believe a lot of content creators. Like, I don't believe them. I don't believe that they play the games that they review. I don't believe that they play the games that they talk about. It's like the only ones I believe are the ones that actually go on their channel and post them playing through the whole fucking game. Like, I will believe their opinions and their takes on that shit. Sure. And even then, some of them are full of shit. There's even some of them who have been talking mad shit about the Switch 2 only to buy it immediately and try to hide behind the fact that they're content creators and it's their job to buy this shit. It's not your fucking job to buy this shit. There is so much in the realm of video games, so much more to tell. There's games coming out every single day. There's games coming out every day. Like, you don't need to buy the Switch 2. And if I was a betting man, I would say we're probably not going to get much more like first-party shit in the first year. I will be surprised if there's another big first-party title for the Switch in the first year that it's out. I will be surprised. And I guarantee you 90% of the third-party titles are coming to other consoles. And even the ones that, like the From Software game that's supposed to come out next year, which shouldn't even count for this conversation, that shit will only be exclusive for 6 months or some shit, just like with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Final Fantasy 16, that and everything for the PS5. That shit will be exclusive for a whistly farts duration, and then it's going to go directly to PC and every other fucking console that can run the shit. The other thing is like they're still going to be releasing games for the Switch, and they're going to still be releasing big titles for the Switch. They're probably going to do both and just have enhanced editions, because already they're doing that shit with Metroid Prime 4. And you know why? Because they can't afford to bank on however many Switch 2s that they can get out on the market in order to make that game. That game went through production hell, which means it probably costs a lot of money for them to, like, if I remember correctly, they scrapped the whole fucking game at one point. So, like, they probably blew a lot of cash. So they need that 150 million unit baseline ownership from the original Switch for them to even get remotely into the ballpark of making their money back, much less making a profit on Metroid Prime 4. Because, I mean, all around, that's already a mistake. That's like a huge mistake hiding in the nooks and crannies of this situation that nobody's talking about. Metroid Prime 4 should have been an exclusive for the Switch 2. Metroid Prime 4 is a system seller, man. Mario Kart, Donkey Kong, and you may have varying opinions. Mario Kart, Donkey Kong are not system sellers. Those aren't system selling, those aren't console pushing games, okay? Mario is a system seller. Fucking Zelda is a system seller. Metroid's going to be a system seller. And these are maybe just me because I hear nobody gives a shit. But for me, a new Star Fox would have been a system seller. A new F-Zero would have been a system seller. A new Kirby would have been a system seller for me. Those three games, if there was a Kirby, a Star Fox, and an F-Zero coming out, if it was any one of those three, except for maybe Kirby, if it was Star Fox or F-Zero, a new Star Fox or F-Zero, that would have sold the system for me. And for pretty much everybody else, I think that Metroid Prime would have sold the system. And for everybody else, I think a new Zelda would have sold the system. And for literally everybody, a new Mario would have sold the system. Not Mario Kart, okay? Not Mario Kart. And that's where it's at. Like, that would have sold me on the system. But I can't get behind it where it's at right now. I can't get behind it. And for all like these grifters and shit like that to be pushing back so hard on the Switch 2 only to turn around and just glaze, like, you know, secretly glaze it and whatever, I think it's silly. And I don't think it's worth purchasing. I think that we're gonna see more situations like Metroid Prime 4 where they're not gonna be able to afford to put the games out exclusively on the Switch 2. Like, they're going to need to drop it on the Switch 1 as well. I think we're going to see a PS4 to PS5 type of situation here where most of the games are coming out for the PS4 and the PS5. I think that we're going to see the same. If it can run on the Switch, they're going to release it for the Switch, and then they're going to release an enhanced edition. That's my prediction, but I'm getting a little bit off topic here. I think they made a mistake with Metroid Prime 4. As far as it being a system seller. But going back to my main point, yeah, I've unsubbed from a lot of these channels. I'm kind of tired of the grifting and the bullshit and the gaslighting and the rage baiting. I don't even think a lot of these gamer channels even play games anymore. And you'll notice, like, a lot of their fan base accuses them pretty regularly during live streams and stuff where they can't moderate as easily as they can in their regular comments. A lot of them get accused of not playing the games half the time. Like, they talk about these new games that come out and they just simply don't play them. Or it'll be like the other effect where, like, they'll talk mad shit about how a game is a woke piece of shit, and then they'll turn around and stream the whole thing online. Like, the whole thing is just a rage bait. It's ridiculous to me. It's like one extreme or the other, and both ways are disingenuous bullshit. It's like they play games that they know are garbage, and they rage bait on it for months leading up to its release. And then they'll rage bait on something for other reasons, only to turn around and buy it as soon as it comes out and secretly glaze it on the sideline. It seems so silly to me, and that was pretty much my whole point. The whole point of the video. I just wanted to conclude with a few little quick tidbits like Clara Obscura Expedition 33. People are complaining about $80 games. That game is $40. Now, I haven't picked it up because I want to wait. I don't want to have anything mailed to my apartment or whatever since I'm moving right now. But that game's only $40, and it looks pretty sick. But I'm gonna hold off because it seems like it has the potential to be woke. I'm gonna wait until a few more people that I trust review it and let me know if it's a woke piece of shit or not. I'm really crossing my fingers that it isn't because I want to pick that game up and play it. It looks a lot like Lost Odyssey, which was a really awesome gem of a game that's stuck on a console that it shouldn't be stuck on. But yeah, Clara Obscura looks very cool, so I'll be interested to see what the reviews are like. It's a shame that it dropped at the same time as Oblivion, which apparently has been infused with some wokey bullshit, but what can you do? The other thing I wanted to mention too is some more gaslighting here from our beloved gaming industry, trying to tell us all that we don't want physical copies of games and trying to tell us all that nobody likes turn-based combat. Lunar, the remastered 1 and 2, so pumped about this. After 26 years, it's finally on modern consoles. We don't have to fucking emulate it. Sold out on every console except for the Xbox because nobody gives a shit about collecting physically for the Xbox. But yeah, Gung Ho Games did not anticipate. They said there was going to be enough copies, which means they undershot what they think they were going to sell. So clearly, there's a bit of a disconnect here in the game industry. They're basically trying to gaslight the customers into being the customers that they want, right? They want us to have all digital libraries. They want us not to own the games. They want us to basically be renting these games from them for $60 for them to only resell the game to us during the next console generation when they stop support for the previous console. It's such a racket. For one, I don't want to see video games go the way of becoming services. They took our music away. They took our movies away. They took our anime away. Now they want to take the video games away. And they want to come up with an elaborate rental system for us. I'm not going to do it. No, thank you. Once physical games stop being a thing and you have to connect and have to be on the internet to run the game, or you have to run the patch, like I'm not getting a PS6 because I already know the PS5 was already compromised. There's very few games where the whole game's on the disc. Very few games. Like I am not collecting for the PS5 actively. I'll buy the games physically just for the sake of like if something were to happen to my profile or whatever, or my PlayStation account, which I've had friends that have shit happen to their accounts where they lost their whole digital library. I buy most of my games physically. I'll buy some digitally on sale, but I buy most of my games physically for that reason. In case something happens, I can still play the game since I have them physically. But so much for collecting them though, because once the service for the system's over, you just have a fucking fancy coaster at your disposal there after that. But yeah, I'm already seeing some rumors flying around that all the third-party games are going to be key cards. I don't know if that's true, but I mean, so far from what we've seen in the ads, that's been the case. If that's true, when I eventually get a Switch 2 and there's 5 exclusives I want, it'll only be first-party games that I buy for it, and I'll buy some digital shit on sale, I guess. But as it stands, like once physical is over, I'll be done collecting games. That's when I'll call it a quits. And I'll never pay full price for a digital version of a game ever again, or I'll completely shift over to collecting for consoles like the Evercade or physical games for like the Game Boy Color and older consoles like that. I'll just shift my collecting over to that, which I'm already tempted to do anyway because there's so many companies that do that nowadays. But yeah, just wanted to bring to light a lot of the gaslighting that's going on. Nobody wants turn-based games. Nobody wants physical games. But they definitely sold out of all the Lunar copies for the Switch and the PS4, even though nobody wants turn-based or physical games. That's crazy. And And what do you know? All of these content creators, they think the Switch 2 is a ripoff and a piece of shit, but I'll be damned if they're not trying their damnedest to get it the very first day they possibly can under the thinly veiled guise that it's their job to buy these things. And not to mention they get to write them off on their taxes since this is their job apparently, you know? Yeah, God. Anyway, yeah, I guess this video was just a bit of griping about what's going on lately and what I've been seeing and just kind of like all the bullshit surrounding the Switch 2. Just so much disingenuous bullshit and misinformation and stupidity and lack of values, lack of integrity. It's pretty wild to me, and I've been unsubscribing to a lot of channels. And speaking of which, if you're new to me, please leave a subscription. If you found this interesting, I got a lot of other videos that aren't just news or tethered to the moment, and I have a few playthroughs of obscure games. I hope to build a library over time of my favorite games, doing playthroughs through all of them with commentary. So check any one of those little series out. I got the original Kingsfield and Armored Core on there, and I've also got some repair videos, some modification videos, some opinion videos. I do some talking about anime as well. And I also, in those anime talks, I do have some of my favorites and some of my recommendations and stuff in that department. So feel free to check some of that stuff out too. I have been packing up my video game collection as well, and I've been live streaming that. I might end up live streaming later tonight while I pack up, my PS1 and the rest of the stragglers that I have over here. We'll see what happens if I get around to doing that, or if I feel like just packing it and getting the shit over with. In any case, yeah, if you want to check out some of my collection, check out a couple of those live packing videos where I'm just chit-chatting about all the games that I own and stuff like that. In any case, this video's already drawn on a little longer than I like them to. I've been trying to cut my shit back down. I've gone from a half hour down to like under 20 minutes. Now this one's over 20 minutes, but I'll get better and better at this as I go on, become more concise with my topics. And today was a little bit loose because I just kind of wanted to gripe about some of the hypocrisy I'm seeing. In any case, that's going to be Gel Lord out. Thanks for checking out this video if you took the time to get to the end. And I'll talk to you guys soon again. We'll see how the whole moving thing goes for me. I don't know how. I'm going to try to at least put a video out a week. And if I can make more time, I'll try. I like to put a video out every day that I have off. So we'll see what happens. I probably won't be able to put as many out. It's been a week since the last one. But I'm trying to get one out there just to keep the algorithm alive for myself. But in any case, yes, that's going to be Gel Lord out. Thank you, fellas.